Once I have been looking back and reminiscing of the life I've led, I feel, I want to I examined many a time that have I used the right means and the right methods to do whatever I do in life? Do I have the right attitude to other humans? Am I empathic with them? Right? What are the character? What are the personality flaws I have? I've been trying to identify them, and some of the personality I think I have used the fairest of means possible. I'm very happy there and very contented about that. I think I'm too dominating a personality sometimes. I've learned, I felt, and also I tend to get angry very fast and then bumble anything. So I think I need to improve those character flaws, that the personality flaws that I have. Also, I feel that at the age of 60, I mean, you've lived a large part of your life, surely 2/3, 70%, 80%. So you better do fast what you want to do, what do you look forward to, maybe travel, maybe health, right? Maybe charity. Also, I feel that, I want to develop an interest which nothing can consume me like these markets. But I must develop an interest which consumes me as much as these markets do. Maybe learning singing, maybe learning playing the sitar, maybe learning dancing. So I must develop alternative interests which consume me other than the markets. Besides that, I think I'm very contented with the life I've led. I'm humble enough to realize that I need improvement. I need to recognize what is incorrect and improve it. I'm very contented with whatever life I've led, the family I had, the market I came to, whatever God gave me. I'm a contented man.
Rakesh, Warren Buffett famously said that when he was young, he always knew he would be rich. He never doubted it for a minute. Do you feel you're rich now at 60?
Well, I don't know whether I'm rich or not, but I know that materially God has, wealth also has a purpose in life. Wealth in isolation means nothing. I think God has given me far more than I need, how I look upon wealth. And even 1 billion is enough, and maybe 50 billion is not enough. My force lies in striving in using the right means and methods to earn that wealth, and not being disappointed if I don't earn it. To make effort is in my hands. The Gita says, effort is in our hands, the results is in his hands. So what I will do is do what I enjoy what I do. I have far more wealth than I need. If I earn it, good enough. If I don't, no problem. And I've learned in life कि मांगने से और चाहने से नहीं मिलता है, वो जब देता है जब ही मिलता है. I am what I am by the grace of God and the blessing of elders. At the same time,
Rakesh,
I'm 60, only 60. Yeah. Mr. Warren Buffett earned 90% of his wealth after he reached 95, after he crossed 65. So, there is still a long time to go, hopefully so.
Rakesh, there's an old saying that, yes, thanks Rakesh. There's an old saying that I am a part of all that I have met. When you came into Dalal Street in 1985, I know you had one of those historic meetings with two players, Nimesh Shah of Inam and R.K. Damani. Can you tell me how they influenced you and how they shaped your career in the next 30 years?
Well, a lot of influences have influenced me in life, but nobody has influenced me the way Mr. Damani has influenced, Mr. Radhakishan Damani. And what is very interesting is nobody introduced us. I had no office, I had only a bag. I used to be bullish on certain stocks, and I met Radhakishan ji on the streets of the Bombay Stock Exchange. And I don't know how and why, but we instantly struck a friendship. Because I always wanted a listener, and he always wanted to listen to somebody he thought makes sense. And then, what I've learned from him is, I think I wish I had his wisdom. Somebody was asking me, do you think he's going to buy India Cements? I think don't ask me. I told him he's smarter than me. He knows what to do and what not to do. What I learned from him is broad. I don't think there is an investor in India who doesn't even have one research analyst. Everything is done by him on broad thinking. Bullish, buy equity. Don't put money on interest. How to trade. I think I've learned, if I know 100 things in trading, I've learned 60 from Mr. Radhakishan ji. And the beauty is it has to be learned. It cannot be taught. Then I think in personal matters, how that we must respect parents. His humility. Today, among being the richest man in India, he's not changed in any way. If I call him Radhakishan, कैसा है? क्या तू ऑफिस में है? मैं अभी आता हूँ. That man's humility, the way his wisdom. I think after my father, I have learned the most from him. Radhakishan is a very broad numbers man. While Nimish Bhai is a very much a numbers man. Radhakishan tries to make 2 plus 2 is 22. Nimish Bhai tries to make 2 plus 2 is 4. From Nimish Bhai, I have learnt the importance of basic research, basic data, basic information, right? Both are extremely competitive humans, but extremely human-hearted and helpful and humble. I don't think I never repay my gratitude to Mr. Damani or Radhakishan ji or YT as we call him or Nimish Bhai. They are two individuals I respect from the bottom of my heart, and I can never pay them enough for what they have taught me. Although I have differed from them many a time.
I know. Rakesh just said you don't need permission to be great. Can you talk us through your initial trades that made you a contrarian, made you decide to think for yourself?
Well, Ramesh, thinking independently was a trait I had from childhood. And my father, I can never thank my father enough. I was a very curious and very independent thinking child. And my father always encouraged both independent thinking and curiosity. I don't know the kind of patience my father had, very few fathers would have had. And I was not the only child, we were 4 of us. And I think that basically developed in me a thought process which was not necessarily to believe what everyone is saying, but try and think for yourself. And that's how, that's why I came to the stock market. I read a booklet taken out by Standard Chartered Bank while I was doing my articleship, saying that how capitalism is going to prevail in the country, right? And I thought if there was ever a temple of capitalism, it was the stock market. So I thought India will lose its twist with socialism and capitalism will prevail in this country. And if there is, the temple of capitalism has to be the stock market. And I don't know why, I love the way prices fluctuate in the stock market. And my romance with the stock market is like a romance with a girl. You can't pen down all the reasons, why you like the market. And my father always said, do what you want in life. Have a basic education so you have security. So I became a chartered accountant. And my father said after that you please do what you want to do in life, but you want to go to the stock market, I will not financially support you, but I have a house, you can always live here. If you don't do well, you are a chartered accountant, you can always get a job, you're a smart fellow. But he said, remember one thing, your word is your bond, be fearless, right? And, may God bless you, for He is the only blesser. And that's how I came to the market, and then whatever trade, appealed to my mind, I used to do them. I never used to follow anybody necessarily. Somebody used to come and say, Manu bhai ye khareed rahe hain, Radhakishan ji ye khareed rahe hain, Nimish bhai ye khareed rahe hain, apan bhi khareed lo. I never listened to all that. I did what I independently thought would work. And one thing which really made me a lot of money is that there was Mr. Bajaj, who was very bullish on Sesagua. And he would explain Sesagua to everybody, and when he explained to me, I thought solid bullish story. And I really made a lot of money. And Radhakishan ji and Kamal Babu, I know, were both shorting it, and I was buying it at one rate. And the price, I started buying it 32, the price went to 27, and within 6 months the price was 70. So I think independent thinking is a personality trait which I had since childhood, and my father helped me develop it. I didn't want to be anybody's lackey. I didn't want to make money on borrowed knowledge.
Fair enough, Rakesh, but your breakout moment, if I recall correctly, came in 1989, Madhu Danvade's budget. That was the first act in your career that brought you both fame and fortune. Am I right?
Yeah, it did. Surely it did. Over a period of 4 or 5 years, not only the budget, right up to 93, and we made a lot of money.
Yeah. Rakesh, let me just ask you a final question in this segment. You talked about your father saying, do not go to the stock market, but stay with us, keep your expenses low. How did that translate into your life partner, Rekha? How has she helped you in your investing career?
I would like to say for Rekha, कि इस शादी में तलाक मुमकिन नहीं, क्योंकि ये शादी नहीं इश्क है. क्या बोलते हैं कि ये शादी में तलाक मुमकिन नहीं, क्योंकि ये शादी नहीं इश्क है. No, she knows nothing about stocks, but I think she has been my biggest support along with my dad and mother. Because, she comes from a wealthy family, And it was a problematic because the chartered accountant, but I was going to the stock market. We come up from conservative Marwadi background, and people would not want to get their daughter married to a person who's in the stock market and who has no job, although I was a chartered accountant. But my father had put up a crown cork factory, and my in-laws were under the impression that I'll work in that factory, and they agreed for the engagement. But the next day I called my in-laws and told them, sir, I'm not going to work in that factory. You can please break the engagement, but I'm going to go to the stock market. And when I first went to Dekha's house, I saw it was fully air-conditioned. She used to come and meet me in her own car. So I told her that, see, I don't have all those trappings of wealth, right? And I'm not going to accept anything from my dad or your dad. So we don't have an air-conditioned room, and we don't have a car. So she said, don't bother, we will live together. And that's how she came. And until then and until today, after she got married, she had her own car, but we used to go out by bus sometimes. Materially, she never used to ask, she has never asked me for anything, except that when will our room be air-conditioned? And she has stood by me in all ups and downs of life. I think the initial support and the initial uncertainty that she bore along with me was unprecedented. And that I have no words and no way in which I can thank her for her support. And to my family, that although my family members did not financially support me to go to the stock market, they never discouraged me. Right? And my brother, I must say, I would not have been what I am today if my brother had not helped me raise money on loan from some of his clients. So in a way, all of members of my family have contributed to my initial start and success. And my father, from whom I learned so much, I think is one man I still miss so much today. And I bear no grudge that he did not support me financially. Because that made me more independent, more alert, more hardworking, more determined. And I stood on my feet.
Rakesh, the greatest love stories are always written inside a marriage, and I'm sure Rekha has proved herself to be a true partner. Rakesh, let me give you some examples. George Soros broke the Bank of England. Yuvraj hit 6 sixes in a row. Michael Phelps won 6 gold medals in the Olympics. All great decisive actions. In your career, what has been the best call that you think you've made?
Ramesh, I would not, there are 2-3 calls. One is I don't think I would have earned the wealth without the call of the Madhu Dhanvate. First, I would not have been where I am if I had not taken the call to come to the stock market despite fierce opposition from everybody. My obituary was written even before I entered into the market. But despite that opposition, I came to the market. Then the call I took in Madhu Dhanvate's budget. The call I took in the kind of friends and I developed, Radhakishan-ji, yourself, Kamal Babu, the kind of company I developed. The call I took in 2000, the call I took on Titan, the call I took on Lupin. So I think these are some of there cannot be any one single event. But I think without the call of coming to the stock market, despite all opposition, nothing else would have been possible.
Fair enough, but once you were in the stock market, I think the call that made you into national headlines when you called the 2004 bull market, you said India was on the verge of a long structural bull market. How do you feel about that call today?
Well, that call was very good. I mean, that call was at the index of 3,000, today is 35, 38,000. So I think it was a good call.
Were you scared on that call, Rakesh? I mean, it was a brave call to make at that time.
Well, it was testing time because I got extremely bullish in 2002 December. And the market really took off in 2003, March, April. And for about 12 to 15 months, I carried the highest leverage of my life. And I think there was a setback in the market in 2002 June, and I had to sell about 25% of my portfolio in 4 days. But I did that, I honored everything. And when the markets turned favorable, I leveraged. And then I made a good sum of money.
Rakesh, one thing that is almost inscribed with you is be bullish on India. You wear it on your sleeves. You shout it on television programs when you're there. How has that basic hypothesis shaped your investing life?
Well, it shapes me because see, the stock market valuation is going to depend on earnings and P. Now in P, we have developed the best trading system in the world. We have a developed mutual fund industry. We have huge domestic savings. We have tax benefits and we have huge exposure to equity. Today, 30% of household wealth in America is equity. In India, it's not 3-4%. And then I have conviction that India will grow. India has the ingredients. You need ingredients to make good food or good vegetable. I think India has got the best ingredients for growth. So that growth is inevitable. And now it's not only an opinion, there's empirical evidence. Nothing is linear in life. Right? And there are going to be ups and downs. And I think what has kept India down for so many decades is this tryst with socialism, which is slowly getting, it is a democratic country that as that tryst with socialism, wears itself out, you see India will grow more and more. So I have no doubt that having the ingredients, being a democratic society, having exhibited the growth that we have, I have so much savings and so much under exposure to equity. So we have both the elements of price formation, which is P and EPS, I think which is going to grow. And my call has served me well. I don't think I could have earned the wealth anywhere else than what I did in the stock market.
Rakesh, so what you said in 2005 still holds true in 2020?
Absolutely. Because these basic ingredients of growth, which are skills, democracy, entrepreneurship, demographics, they cannot be destroyed. They are the ingredient of a society. Some are historical, some are accidental. Our demographic benefit cannot be taken away. The skills of Indians cannot be destroyed. The democracy cannot be overruled. So these basic, the entrepreneurship is in our blood. We forget that in the 17th century, 40% of world GDP was India. So it's not as if, we are a newcomer come here. We are only trying to reach where we were about 4 centuries ago. So I see no reason why India is not going to have $15,000 or $20,000 GDP. So I remain confident that we will achieve it.
Great. Rakesh, there's an old saying about investing that you cut your weeds and you water the flowers. Or as Soros said, it's not whether you're right or wrong, it's how much money you make when you're right. I want to get some color on your decisions to make the 3 stocks that have defined your portfolio: CRISIL, Lupin, and of course Titan. Talk to me about them.
Well, Ramesh, all of them were bought when they were written off by the market. Of course, CRISIL was always a somewhat fancied stock. I can tell you, Ramesh, after I bought the stock, I became the largest single individual shareholder of CRISIL. And we made a presentation to the management team. The price was 400. We predicted the price will be 4,000 in 5 years. And they said, you're gone off your mind. And the price was 10,000 in 4 years. And Titan was not by design, it was an accident. And it constantly, and Ramesh, there's a realization that no investment can give you a linear return. There will be years when it will underperform. But the question you get is the underperformance such that it will not perform again? So I think with my independent thought process, and my investment is always a risk reward. So I made those investments, and I tend not to sell my investments easily. That has helped me. And God has been kind. I've retained those investments despite a lot of, and some of them have underperformed also, like CRISIL in the last 4-5 years, both CRISIL and Lupin. But I've still held on to them.
So the genius sometimes is belief in the future of the country and to let compounding work its magic. That is what you need to do in good investing?
Absolutely. And I think even Mr. Damani, I can speak on behalf of Radhakishan, we have unbridled faith in the capacity of this country to grow. And that faith is not dependent on you, me, on a political party, right? India has the potential and India will grow. And I think that I'm predicting the time has come when we are going to see major reform. I think we've seen major reform in the agricultural sector. We are going to see major reform in the other sectors.
Rakesh, one of the few people who wear 2 hats successfully, that is a speculator and that is an investor. Put on your speculative hat for me for a minute. There's a famous saying that you've taught me, as a matter of fact, that speculation is done with a passbook, not a checkbook. And that in colloquial terms you say, vadare vadare levanu, ghatare ghatare bechvanu. Explain how those 2 proverbs have helped you speculate.
Ramesh, what is speculation? What is trading? It's all about price. right? See, to trade, what do you need to do? You need to have broad direction of market. You need not be an expert. You should know when to stake, what to stake, and when to take a loss. Now, what to stake, what happens? People try to first of all extract too precise a trend, too precise price movements, rather than broadly recognizing trends. Then initially people bet small, but when they make money, the bets get larger. And third is that, to take a loss goes against human nature, right? So if you can conquer these three things, I think you can be a very good trader. And see, trading gives you the highest ROE. It requires you to be alert 24 hours a day, right? The excitement of le batafat, de patafat, and the check mark, the draft you get into your account the next day is something else in the world, right? So I love trading, and trading is the source of all my wealth, because ultimately it is the trading money that I earn in trading that I invested.
Right. If you still had to choose, would you be a trader or an investor?
I would be both. Both has its own pleasures, but I think trading profits have greater pleasure. I don't have to say, if you can, I just say often, if you want to keep a mistress and a wife happy, you can be a good trader and a good investor.
You're one of the few people I know who can, have a trading mind and a speculating mind and an investing mind. It's so very difficult to separate the emotions of the two, but you do it very successfully. Another thing that you do very successfully, Rakesh, is handle leverage. What are your thoughts on that? Most people have said avoid leverage. You have a more amiable view to leverage.
See, leverage is like personal habits of smoking and drinking. If done in a measured manner, they are a pleasure. If overdone, they are problems, right? So I think trading is emotionless. I would have known in life I had no capital from my parents or my in-laws or no other source of capital. It's only through leverage that I built wealth. So I think it's good to leverage, but you have to measure leverage. It has to be emotionless. When it goes against you, nobody's going to come and save you. You should keep your hope at home and act to reduce your leverage. Ramesh, I'm telling you, in 2002, I was so bullish, but I sold 25% of my portfolio in 4 days because I had to reduce leverage. Another thing in leverage also is it is emotionless. When you go wrong, there is nobody to help you. There is no father. There is no mother. Please cut the leverage. Also, there are times when you should leverage and a time when you shouldn't leverage. You shouldn't believe that, what leverage I had in 2003, my wealth in 2008 was much greater, but my leverage was not even 10% of what it was in 2003. So, all this, there are moments when you should leverage and there are moments when you should not leverage. Do you know with me what the valuation in 2002 was? So I think we should leverage, but in a measured manner and be emotionless and don't blame others. And if things go against you, square off and sit at home.
Rakesh, I'll end this up by quoting to you an Irish proverb which goes, may you live as long as you want, and may you never want for anything as long as you live. Thank you so much after 15 years for coming back on Wizard